Good afternoon, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a good day and God bless you. Let's get into the news. It's funny the way the media pushes the exact same narrative that the Biden administration wants you to believe whatever the White House press propaganda is. Well, let's just try to report on that as being the most likely scenario, no scrutiny whatsoever. Do you think Donald Trump would get that same treatment? Absolutely not. We know he would not. But when it comes to Sleepy Joe, well, it's just not his fault. It must have just been some stupid aide who didn't know what they were doing. Yeah, I'm not ready to give Joe Biden any benefit of the doubt. If anything, this discovery that he was actually secretly in possession of more classified documents had another look Asian makes me question what the hell else is this man hiding? That's what we know of so far in 2 of his known office locations. Well, what is Joe Biden hiding in undisclosed locations that we don't know about this guy because he's a Democrat is getting all of the benefit of the doubt when he deserves none of it? He had no right to be holding classified documents, period. He had no security clearance and he had no authority to declassify anything. And it seems as though all of this time he's been concealing the fact that he's been holding documents. And what makes it even worse is that we're now learning that these documents are pertaining to information related to Ukraine and China. Understanding Joe Biden's family ties and their business dealings with those countries makes this whole thing real sketchy and even harder to just give him the benefit of the doubt. I give him no benefit and no doubt, whatever the hell that means. I mean, I'm just riffing here. Here's where it gets even more sketchy. Hunter Biden China classified documents mystery swirls around Pennsylvania Penn Center. Hunter Biden explored getting a job at Biden Penn Center before it even existed. Then Biden Center lies at the heart of the latest Biden controversy, but in some ways, remains shrouded by mystery. The White House revealed earlier this week that classified documents were discovered at the Washington, D.C. office for President Biden's think tank, the Penn Biden Center for Diplomacy and Global Engagement, in early November. On Wednesday, news broke that another trove of classified documents from Biden's time as vice president had been discovered at another location, leading to louder calls from attorney Merrick Garland to appoint a special counsel to investigate the president's handling of such documents. Of course, that'll never happen. They'll appoint special counsels to investigate Donald Trump endlessly, but never sleepy creepy Joe Biden because he's got a D next to his name. The Biden Center has since found itself in a firestorm, leading to renewed questions on the likes of Chinese donations to the University of Pennsylvania, which houses the think tank. Hunter Biden is also known to have discussed the center in emails before its launch within weeks of leaving the vice presidency under former President Barack Obama. In January 2017, Biden became the Benjamin Franklin Presidential Practice Professor at the University of Pennsylvania. An honorary position in the Penn Biden Center for Diplomacy and the Global Engagement was launched in Washington, D.C. the next year. However, discussions about the elder Biden's future involvement with Penn long predated the end of the Obama presidency. According to emails from Hunter Biden's infamous abandoned laptop, which have been verified by Fox News Digital on April 25, 2016. Creative Artists Agency CAA agent Craig Gehring emailed Hunter with confidential notes from our meeting, in which Gehring listed apparent plans that were discussed for the vice president upon leaving office. On those plans included, quote, wealth creation with no further explanation, and another included an apparent reference to the Penn Biden Center in Washington, D.C. with a possible job opportunity for Hunter. Oh wait, I thought Joe Biden had no connection to Hunter Biden's business dealings. Seems as though we now have a legitimate email involving both Biden's Joe Biden and his son Hunter in a scheme of in relation to, quote, wealth creation and the opening of the Penn Biden Center. Now here's the macro view of the whole picture. We're going to pretend as if all of this is normal. None of it should be investigated. Nothing to see here, folks. Joe Biden is illegally in possession of classified documents that he has no clearance to view and no legal right to be in possession of. His son Hunter Biden is doing some sort of shadow lobbying for foreign countries like Ukraine and China, and especially China, where his companies are bringing in millions of dollars. Coincidentally, millions of dollars from China and Hong Kong are then being funneled into the Biden Penn Center. Joe Biden is being then paid $1 million plus by the university for his honorary position where he isn't even teaching. They have a plan for wealth creation. Hunter Biden is somehow connected or knowledgeable about the pendant Biden Center. And so it makes you question, where are they selling access and information, where the Bidens in possession of classified documents and releasing information to the Chinese to benefit themselves financially? That is the first thing that pops to mind. There seems to be some sort of influence or classified information racket involving the Biden family name and business. This seems to be what they do. This is how they make money, wealth creation through their Biden think tank. What else could a geriatric incompetent with a melting brain and his crackhead son offer major energy companies in the Chinese Communist Party? It can't be much. It's not like they have some skill that people don't possess. It's not like they have some business or provide some service that others aren't or can't. The only thing they possess is their name, their access, their influence. They were selling it, and the question is, how were these classified documents relevant? And then you really start to ask questions when you think about the Clinton Foundation and the fact that Hillary Clinton had a private server with over 30,000 emails and access to tons of data, classified information through her backchannels. The question is, like always, what the hell is going on with the Bidens, the rest of these Washington deep state swamp creature families? And he would think, with all of these questions, with all of this evidence as actual evidence of wrongdoing, a special counsel would have been appointed years ago, and the fact that Merrick Garland has yet to do so, in the fact that the media continues to play defense for the Bidens, makes it all the more fishy. And then some significant news: Joe Biden aides discover more classified documents at a separate location. Joe Biden's aides have discovered more classified documents in his possession at a different location. Amidst all the reports, it is clear the White House is attempting to clean up Biden's records ahead of a possible run for re-election in 2024. The White House on Thursday confirmed that a second set of classified documents for when Joe Biden was vice president have been discovered in the garage of his home in Delaware. Quote, "During the review of the lawyers discovered among personal and political papers, a small number of additional Obama-Biden administration records with classified markings," said Special Counsel Richard Sauber. He continues, quote, "All but one of these documents were found in a storage space in the president's residence garage. One document consisting of one page was discovered among stored materials in an adjacent room." He said Biden on Thursday, after the announcement, said the documents are in a locked garage and that he takes seriously the issue of classified documents. In 2018, Hunter Biden claimed in illegal documents that he owned the house where Joe Biden kept classified documents alongside his Corvette in the garage. The university that housed Biden Center pressed to an FBI China spy probe after big Beijing donations. The University of Pennsylvania, the Ivy League institution, which collected tens of millions of dollars from China while paying Joe Biden and hosting his foreign policy think tank, successfully pressured the Biden Justice Department to end an targeting Beijing's increasing influence within its academia. Attorney General Merrick Garland shut down the FBI's so-called China Initiative in February of 2022. Shortly after, more than 160 members of the University of Pennsylvania faculty signed and made public an open letter demanding the program be shuttered on the grounds that it amounted to racial profiling. The faculty letter was part of a larger university battle against the program. 2 weeks after the letter was sent, Garland announced the termination of the program, sending shockwaves through federal law enforcement. Penn is in the limelight now after the revelation Monday that classified documents from Biden's vice presidency, including top-secret items and intelligence on Ukraine and Iran, were found last November in Biden's old office at the Penn Biden Center, where he worked in D.C. from 2017 to 2019. The university has said it did not solicit any donations specifically to fund at the Penn Biden Center, funding it out of its operating budget, while also paying Biden a handsome sum to be an honorary professor who did not teach classes but made occasional appearances or lectures. Reports compiled by the conservative watchdog group, National Legal and Policy Center, from disclosures from the Department of Education showed that Penn collected more than $67.6 million in donations and contracts from China between 2013 and 2019. The mass majority of that money, $47.7 million, flowed during the 3 years Biden was employed by the university. The records show the Chinese money poured in most rapidly in the 4 months after Biden opened to the center in February of 2018. A period during which nearly $20 million came through, including a $14.5 million anonymous gift in May. According to a complaint the NLPC filed with the Department of Education in May of 2020. The complaint requested that the department investigate all the Chinese gifts depend on the Penn Biden Center, alleging that the gifts listed as anonymous were in clear violation of the Higher Education Act requirements that, quote, all gifts or contracts exceeding $250,000 must disclose the foreign ownership and control of the gift or contract. The NLPC filed a Freedom of Information Act request on Tuesday, seeking, quote, all documents including but not limited to emails, text messages, communications, memoranda and photographs that refer to the discovery and handling of the classified and other presidential records that were in the closet at the Biden Center for Diplomacy and Global Engagement. The university has denied any wrongdoing. Attorney General Merrick Garland assigned special counsel to investigate Joe Biden for possession of classified documents. Quote, I concluded that under special counsel regulations, it was in the public interest to appoint a special counsel, Garland said, noting that he made his decision on January 5. He announced that former U.S. Attorney from Maryland Robert Hur would be taking the role. Hur was nominated to the U.S. Attorney in Maryland by President Donald Trump in 2017. And he served in the role until his resignation in 2021. In the job, Hur played a key role in a number of high-profile cases, including in a children's book scandal involving then Baltimore Mayor Catherine Pugh that resulted in Q being sentenced to 3 years in prison. He has most recently been working in private practice in Washington, D.C. Quote, Mr. Herrera has a long and distinguished career as a prosecutor, Garland said, adding that, quote, I will ensure that Mr. Herrera receives all the resources he needs to conduct his work. The Attorney General laid out the timeline for the Justice Department's handling of the investigation, revealing that the investigation was well underway before it was first reported on Tuesday. On November 9, Garland revealed the FBI began investigation as to whether the classified information found in Biden's possession had been illegally mishandled. Governor DeSantis hits back at White House over migrant crisis. Quote, maybe we'll send the bill to Biden. Governor Ron DeSantis, at a press conference on Thursday, dismissed the White House's criticism of Florida for deploying the National Guard in response to the migrant crisis. Last week, Florida responded to the migrant surge by deploying the National Guard, generating criticism from the White House. Quote, so we have known for some time now, right? We've seen Governor DeSantis do political stunts, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said. Quote, is that how he proceeds to fix this issue from Florida? And he takes, we're talking about people who are coming from countries who are dealing with political strife, who are dealing with issues, they're trying to find asylum, and he treats them like pawns, she continued, claiming that the White House has called the DeSantis administration out over and over again. Further, Jean-Pierre bizarrely asserted that DeSantis is, quote, creating a problem. He responded, quote, well, I think it's interesting because the Coast Guard actually requested the state's assistance to handle all the vessels coming, DeSantis said when asked about the White House's assessment. It continues, quotes, but I think what we've done, and we've done a very aggressive, really across the board at mitigating the damage from the Biden's disastrous border policies. And part of it is, just what they're doing at the border. But part of it is the message that's gone out to say the rules don't matter. Just show up and you're fine. He insisted that one can't, quote, run a country like that, and explaining that it prompted him to, quote, declare a state of emergency, stated, quote, we provided the Coast Guard with assistance they've asked for, we're going to clear the vessels free of charge for those residents because it wasn't their fault. Maybe we'll send the bill to Biden, we'll see, DeSantis concluded. Biden's DHS gives temporary amnesty to thousands of Somalis living in the U.S. Joe Biden's Department of Homeland Security is extending temporary amnesty status to thousands of Somali nationals living in the United States who would otherwise be eligible for deportation. On Thursday, DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas announced that the Biden administration is extending and redesigning temporary protected status for 18 months, which will allow more than 2.61 thousand Somali nationals to remain living and working in the U.S. Quotes, through the extension and redesigning of Somalia for a temporary protected status, the United States will be able to offer safety and protection to Somalis who may not be able to return to their country due to the ongoing conflict and the continuing humanitarian crisis. Mayorkas said in a statement, specifically TPS will be extended to about 430 Somalis who are already in the U.S. and allows another 2.21 thousand eligible Somalis to join the program, securing work permits to hold American jobs. Extensions of TPS have long been followed by surges at the southern border, particularly of border crossers arriving under the false premise, but they may be eligible for the protected status if they get into the United States. Today, More than 500,000 foreign nationals live and work in the U.S. who are either enrolled or are eligible for TPS. This figure does not include the U.S.-born children of TPS holders, nor those who have subsequently secured their green cards. Thanks for joining us on today's episode of Open Source News. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and turn on the notifications